Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Monday Weekend Wrap-Up, episode 59. Episode 59. Are we? Is something sounds fun? There we go. Welcoming.
Hello.
Guys. Yeah, we had to do it just kind of live. We just went straight into it. How you guys doing? Oh, my mic's way over here. There we go. Oh, I can't hear you, Milo.
Can't hear Milo.
Can you hear me now?
Ah, there it is. That's good.
Now? Yeah,
Hear me now.
How you guys doing?
That was an old UK TV show thing, wasn't it?
Maybe.
Pretty sure.
I can't remember.
Can you hear me now? So anyway, yeah, good. Thank you. So,
Can you hear me now? Was also a Verizon thing here. I don't know if you remember that.
okay.
Can you hear me now? Good, right? That's what he would say. And then he'd like walk all over the place.
There we go. Had you on the wrong screen.
That's got to be a pretty good gig, you know, a regular in a commercial like that.
Yeah.
Just money and just reruns.
I can remember when Usain Bolt was the face of Virgin Media in the UK for their fibre optic fastest broadband in the UK. And it was literally just him showing up being like, you can be as fast as me. And then him sprinting off the screen. I was like, I wonder how much you got paid for that over and over and over again to be shown on TV.
Crazy stuff.
I always wanted to be in a Tango advert. Culture.
Just
Tango?
been tangoed.
Yeah. Tango is like a fizzy drink.
It's like
Okay.
the UK Fanta, I'd say.
Okay.
Although you can get Fanta in the UK as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Were that one time, you know, the name for the League Cup, the Tango Cup, by any chance?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Unfortunately. What's the Coca-Cola Cup?
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Before
Wasn't
that,
it
it was
the
the milk cup.
The Rumbelows Cup as well at one stage, I
Yeah,
think.
Littlewoods. Oh no, that was the FA Cup. Littlewoods
Yeah,
FA Cup.
Littlewoods FA Cup, yeah.
Wasn't the championship the Coca-Cola championship
Yeah,
or
that was
something?
Coca-Cola
Yeah.
League One, I think it was.
Ah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, they moved sort of from the cup to that league. They couldn't
Yeah.
quite make the Prem. Barclays monopolised it.
Oh, wow, Barclays got it after Carling.
It was the Carling Premier League, wasn't it?
Carling
Yeah, for a
Premier
while.
League, wasn't it? At first, I think. So
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
yeah. Actually,
Carling's now with Scotland, right? They've gone to Scotland.
No, it's gone. That's now it was, and then they're now Cinch. The Cinch.
Oh, yes,
Scottish
Cinch,
Premier
Cinch.
League.
Premier League.
Interesting chat. We didn't even plan this, but this sort of relates to the news of betting companies. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Premier League statement. What is it? Clubs have today collectively agreed to withdraw gambling sponsorship from the front of clubs' matchday shirts, becoming the first sports league in the UK to take such measure voluntarily in order to reduce gambling advertising.
From 2026. But my mate was very cynical about this, and was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that all it means it's going to happen is that they'll now change the shirt. So your front will be either insurance or an airline or something like that. Your right arm will be betting. Your left arm will be something else. The top of the shirt will be betting, like at the back. He was like, it's going to become like the Bundesliga, where names go to the bottom, and it's just covered in sponsorship with betting companies anywhere other than the front.
I think that's the dream for all the business type people involved
Yeah.
in the sport, but none of the sport people involved in the sport.
It's Ed Woodward's wet dream.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
remember-
it's interesting that they haven't really unlocked that in the US yet. You know, I think in basketball they just started putting a little logo kind of on the
Yeah.
shoulder.
It's
But, like,
creeping in, yeah.
It's, you know, that's going to be big money for basketball for sure.
European ice hockey, they have them covered in sponsors. So, but I also think they don't raise a lot of money. So, when they've talked about doing it in like the NHL, everyone's in uproar because those jerseys are so classic, right? They're like timeless. Same with basketball; they're almost
Yeah.
like timeless jerseys,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because for me growing up, I would see, you know, like the Arsenal O2, right? And like the Vodafone on United
JVC.
and
I grew up with
Sharp,
Arsenal JVC.
JVC, yeah.
DC, yeah.
But and those were kind of like that made them classic in their own way, almost. You know. Which is
Yeah,
kinda
like
neat, too.
sharp view cam, right? On that black Eric Cantona Man United kit, the black
Yep.
and yellow kit. Yeah, it's just iconic. It's always been
Yeah.
there. It's just...
Do you remember F1 used to be the one, like all the sponsors were cigarettes. All the cigarette companies sponsored Formula
Oh yeah.
One.
Yeah,
Marlboro,
isn't it?
Benson.
Marlboro had loads. Yeah. Oh, Benson. Yeah.
Benson Hedges was the Jordan. They're like goldish color.
Benson, never heard of that one.
Yeah, Benson and Hedges.
That's the classic. That's the classic. What's that? Mike Bassett, England manager, where he calls up Benson and Hedges because he writes his England squad on the back of a packet of fags, and it's a Benson and Hedges packet of fags. And they call up Benson and Hedges from League Two accidentally. Yeah.
It's interesting though, yeah. Betting is just starting up here in the States. Like I think they legalized it in like the last couple of years. It hasn't been long. And you know, watching that show Peaky Blinders, I don't know if you guys seen that show.
Yeah,
but
love
like it tells you kind of the history of gambling and betting in the UK. So I don't know. Was that like a normal thing, you know, to see your grandparents or something, or like gambling and stuff like that? Or?
Not
Yeah. Well, go on, man.
yeah, not run by a family out of a a terraced house in a cobbled street. No, but like the bookies, you know, the bookies has always been a thing. None of my family have ever been huge gamblers, myself included. I have a few bets here and there, but nothing crazy. And like, but although saying that, my granddad used to take me to this pub just around the corner from where they lived when I was a kid. And he used to play this game in the pub. They had these little raffle tickets. And if it ended in a 0 or a 5, then you won. So we used to play that.
But that
Raffle was always
50p,
good.
right?
Raffle was good.
Yeah.
So, but no, Katie's granddad bets on the horses like every bit, but it's only like a £5 or something. It's not a lot, and I'm not a huge better, but Singapore has only just made friendly gambling legal. So if you were to play poker with your friends, they've only just made it legal to say you can play that for money with your friends. I don't know how they'll find out if you weren't or not, but they're really strict on gambling over here.
Yeah, they're strict on like everything, pretty much.
Everything,
right?
yeah, everything, yeah.
You can't chew gum, right, in the street or something.
You can chew gum, you can have chewing gum, you can't sell it. So no one's legally allowed to sell it to you, which means you can't get it. So
Is that because they don't want it on the floor?
yeah, they don't want it on the street. Yeah,
Good for them.
Super clean. Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
I hate that.
cool.
Yeah, interesting. Let's see. Does West Ham or Arsenal have betting sponsors? Do they? No.
Yeah, West Ham bet 365.
West Ham does, right?
Bet 360.
Yeah. So.
No, we have
The,
Visit Rwanda because
Oh, that's right.
the tourism industry
That's-
in Rwanda is just not good.
Yeah. What's the deal with that? How did
I don't-
Rwanda become the? Did they produce that movie Hotel Rwanda or something? Like, is that like?
I don't think so. I just think it's a really weird one, that one, to be honest with
It
you.
is weird.
I'm going to Google that. Be like, visit Rwanda, Arsenal is the third.
Seems like some sort of maybe like
Official-
money laundering. Maybe I don't know.
Official tourism partner.
It's not working then.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Rwanda and Arsenal, West Ham 2-2 this weekend. League leaders. Little hiccup there possibly.
Yeah.
Arsenal going up 2-0. Great play in the beginning as always, and
Yeah.
West Ham got it back to 2-1. Then Saka, shortly after a Saka penalty miss, West Ham go down and score 2-2 draw. Yeah, let's talk about it. You had Tierney and Holding coming in. Zinchenko was out. Saliba and Tomiyasu were out, right?
Yes, I mean, Holdings started the last few games, right?
Yeah.
With Saliba missing. And I think Tomiyasu would have played at centre-back in more than one of these fixtures, or he would have played at the right and Ben White may have moved inside. And I actually think that's one of the key things that's leading to this blip that we're seeing right now, if you want to call it a blip. I mean, it's a tough game away at Anfield, and for any London club to play West Ham at West Ham is a tough fixture. It just is.
Yeah.
I mean, the question has to be right. 2-0 leads, and both of them have been lost. I won't say thrown away because I do think both of the opponent. It's not Arsenal suddenly started playing badly. I think West Ham went 2-0 down and got up for it a little bit more, and Liverpool went 2-0 down and got up for it a little bit more. But what do you think about as an Arsenal fan? Is it sort of like, I don't know how to say it without sounding really horrible and harsh, but I don't want it to come out horrible and harsh, like a lack of character or a lack of belief or that lack of winning
because
mentality.
I think if you look at the rest of the season, right? If you want to look at it in terms of numbers, and because that's what you're talking about, numbers and chance and all this other stuff, look at the body of work, right, for the rest of the season up to this point. 80% of it has been fine, and we've come from behind to win. We've come from we've been drawing till late in the game, and we've won. We've won in all kinds of ways, as well as winning comfortably, and that's just because we're a good team. We've been playing well this season. Yeah. So I think, like we had a little blip in the beginning of February, we're having another blip right now, and injuries are playing a big part in that, in my opinion. I think Saliba missing is mega. I think Holding is a massive downgrade on Saliba, and I think Tomiyasu being hurt, like I said, I think that plays into it as well defensively, because I think he would have come in, and you can utilize him and Ben White in whichever fashion you feel most comfortable with. I actually think Holding, all right, he gave away a penalty, fine. It wasn't the best move. I do think it was a handball from Declan Rice that led to that penalty. You can see in the video he does move his arm to the ball, in fact, which to me there's no clearer indication. But apparently that wasn't VARable because it wasn't the moment that led directly to the penalty incident or something like that, is what I read.
Yeah.
So, and we can get into that if you want. I know, Carl. I know you've read a lot more into the ins and outs of that whole conversation than I have.
The handball.
Yeah, just in general, that leading up to the VAR, VAR in that situation or not in that situation. So, either way, we had a chance to win it with Saka. And again, people, you're going to get the trolls that are like having a go at Saka. I think that's just silly. Like, that's his first penalty he's missed since that one in the Euros. He scored every other penalty he's taken this season. Like, players miss penalties, man. It does happen. I mean, even Harry Kane, go look at his stats. He misses penalties, and he's probably the best penalty taker in the Prem.
Even Matt Letizia missed one.
Even Matt Letizia missed one, yeah. So, I mean, as it stands, Saka's missed one in the Premier League, so he could equal Matt Letizia.
Yeah, was it? Are you talking about the penalty that Arsenal conceded? Because I think that one was Gabriel. He took him out.
It was. So, but the ball came to Partey. Partey dilly-dallied. That's problem number one. Okay. Like 100%, there are things Arsenal should have done better in both situations to defend. I thought Partey had a very bad game, actually, personally, compared to how he's been.
He was so slow.
Yeah, he had a rough.
Got it.
Yeah, he had a rough game. To the point where I think maybe even Jorginho might get the start ahead of him. Probably will get the start ahead of him on Friday. I don't know though. We'll see, I guess. But again, for me, offensively, it's fine. It's the midfield and the defense and playing out of defense where it fell apart for us. Partey and Holding being the weaker links. Tierney as well. Tierney, I don't think had a great game. I think we really, at 2-0 up, that's when I think Zinchenko is absolutely crucial to what we do to help us control things in that defensive end of the field. Do you know what I mean? Like when we have the ball in our own half. And I think Tierney wants to bomb down the wing and start something. Well, that's fine. But you know what I mean? If we're not in that, if we're not in one of those motions, if we lose the ball, we're then exposed at the back. And that seems to be what happens to me.
I was going to mention that about Tierney. I think it's really interesting that Arteta's picked Tierney, or he has to play because Zinchenko's injured, and he's asking him to do what Zinchenko did, which was try and come in midfield, right? Because Zinchenko does that really well. He acts as another central midfielder, allows Xhaka and Partey to play a little bit higher up. But Tierney can't, or not can't do that. I'm sure he can do that. He's a very good footballer. But he, like you're saying, he's a wing back that likes to bomb up the wing and get a cross in, or bong up the wing and have a cut back or something like that. And it just, I found it very strange that it didn't shift. Nothing seemed to shift. Arteta was like, no, that's what we want Tierney to do. And Tierney would come in and then run back to the wing and go up the line anyway. And
Arteta's comments suggested the players did not follow the game plan.
Okay.
So at 2-0 up, you know, because their questions were raised, like, you know, what was the message at 2-0? Because, you know, and everything Arteta has said since is we have to learn to be more ruthless and kill teams. Because simply, I said on the weekend, if City go 2-0 up, I just turn it off. It's a done deal.
Yeah.
If City go 2-0 up, it's a done deal. They're going to win 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, whatever you want it to be. They're so good at just controlling, you know, being in the lead. They're gonna have blips. They have had blips. People were questioning things earlier in the season, and to talk a little bit about, we'll get to City. Obviously, we don't. We can talk about them in terms of the title race, if not the fact, you know, their game wasn't particularly exciting. But like, you know, we will talk. I've got some things I think about them as well. But like, you know, for me, Arteta saying at 2-0 up, we have to be more ruthless. We've got to go for the jugular. And that's why I think Tierney was fine in that opening 30 minutes, because the team were pressing, attacking, just throwing everything forward to get that 2-0 lead. And then the team decided themselves to take the foot off the gas. And I see someone asking there in getting overconfident. I don't think so. Again, if you look at the body of work for the whole season, I don't see that in the way that their body language is or anything like that. I think the flicks and stuff, Odegaard is guilty of that in every game. So, and sometimes when he pulls it off, everyone's, oh my God, Odegaard is such a great player, you know? He's one of those. He's one of those. Like, you're going to have players that try that sort of stuff. I wish, you know, I would love for us, the successful Arsenal teams, you know, the Invincibles, if you want to bring them into it, for example, they were kings of going 3-0 up in 20 minutes in games that they would win. They'd go 3-0 up in 20 minutes, and then that would just be it. It'd be a walk in the park after that. This team, you know, I don't think are capable of that. But again, it's a depth thing, which is something I talked about at the start of the season. And the fact that we went so long without key injuries, apart from Jesus, which was a key injury, which I thought we managed very, very well. And I don't think that can really be disputed. I think managing defensively is a lot harder because we don't have as many tools. Like I said to you guys, when Jesus was out, you got Eddie coming in, plays a different style to Jesus, but he's still a physical presence. He's got energy. You know, even if he doesn't score, he puts in a shift. But you've got Martinelli, Saka, Odegaard around him. Whereas defensively, we don't have that. If Partey has a bad game and Zinchenko's injured, Saliba's injured, you know, we're instantly looking a little bit worse off at the back. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, this game against City that's coming up is just, I mean, that's mammoth now, isn't it?
Yeah, a week from Wednesday, I think. A week from Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first time. I mean, I tuned in a little late. It was I think it was 6 a.m. kickoff
6 a.m.
here.
start,
yeah. So I started watching little. I mean, after it was already 2-0 up, right? So I was kind of going in with that mentality that, okay, Arsenal's got this in the bag, type of thing, you know. But then I don't know. The first time I saw them play without their, they always played like a machine, and obviously West Ham's deep defense probably, you know, made things difficult. But they played like a machine with like a real intensity, a real spark, you know, always, you know, attacking, getting overloads, attacking down the wing, stuff like that. But West Ham on the counter with, I think Mikel Antonio is one of my, he's like my Jermaine Defoe, you know. He's like the new Jermaine Defoe for me. I love Mikel Antonio. I think he's great. But it was the first time I saw Arsenal. It seemed like they were a bit out of ideas towards the end of that game, you know. Usually they're just like running in behind, Saka, Martinelli, or someone running through, kind of like an underlap, Zinchenko or Ben White or somebody. But it was the first time I saw that they didn't have that spark, and it'll be interesting to see. Another thing that I thought was interesting was Jesus and Partey coming off for Jorginho and Trossard. Jesus coming off. It didn't seem like Jesus was having too bad of a match, but it seemed like he wanted Trossard to come and kind of play like a super deep striker almost.
That'll be a fitness thing. That'll be.
I personally think it's a fitness thing because the injury he's coming back from. I personally feel like that was that was at 2-1.
2-1.
2-2. 2-2.
That was a 2-2. Yeah,
I imagine it was a sports scientist thing where they've gone.
Yeah.
He can only play for a maximum 70 minutes, or otherwise he's going to risk a muscle injury again, or something like that. So
I don't
think you'd take him off, right? I don't think you'd take.
I think Partey was taken off due to not having a good game.
So
rightly so, and he's been very good this season.
Very good.
So I think again, your players, they will have an off game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I just think the Liverpool result was one. We talked about it in depth last week, and I would take a point any season, mate. I would take a point at Anfield, and then West Ham away is a tough one. I'm not so worried about it in terms of the hostility and stuff because they're not at Upton Park anymore. They're at the what's it called, the London Stadium.
The London Stadium, yeah.
So at the London Stadium, but I mean, still, don't get it twisted. It's a big match for West Ham fans and Arsenal fans. It's a cross-London derby, West London versus North London. It's East London versus North London. It's a derby match. Don't take nothing away from it. It's always a good game as well. Typically, when we play them, there's been years where their team has been rolled over, and we've definitely had the majority of the play, but. Again, one thing that stood out to me, obviously the trolls are out in full force. Fine, they can have their fun with the fact that we're struggling. But I think Liverpool fans this week have been very we know what you're going through up against this City machine. You know what I mean? I've seen lots of that. But I thought this interesting stat that I saved a screenshot of it here on my phone, so I'm just going to read it to you. In the last 6 seasons, right? These are our finishes. So 2021 season, we were 8th and 25 points off the champions, right? Last year, we were 5th, 24 points off the champions. The season before that, 1920, 43 points off the champions and finished 8th. 28 points off the year before, 37 the year before that. So you have to go back to 2016-17 where we finished 18 points off of the champions. That's our lowest in the last 7 years. So whatever happens, like I said to you guys last week, whatever happens, for me, the progress this team has shown it's so clear to see. How can I, no matter what happens, how can I not look at this season as a success?
Yeah, definitely.
But we have a chance to win it.
Yeah.
But City, can we move? Let's move to City a little.
Yeah, let's City. Okay. Yeah, that's what I've got here. City beat Leicester 3-1 at home. Beautiful goal from John Stones. I don't know if you guys saw that one. That was a beauty.
I did, yeah.
And Haaland with 2 more. Haaland now he's broken the record for most goals in a single season by a Premier League player across all competitions. Yeah. I'm not sure what the record is in the Premier League. I'm pretty sure he's going to break that. I think you mentioned that last week, Culture.
He should do.
He should.
Yeah, he should break it for goals in a Premier League season. Yeah.
But yeah, they had a great week all around. We can go back to the Bayern game if we just want to touch on that real quick. Another great goal in that game. Rodri's goal, left foot. I don't know if you guys that was a beauty.
Yeah, it's lovely. I mean, they're reaching that bit of. I think the difference between Pep and a lot of other managers is that Pep seems to understand that all these other clubs have data scientists, data analysts, whatever you want to call them, that are literally their job is to see how people play and then try and inform the manager of how to counteract it. Whereas I think Pep changes up his style, and Haaland has helped that, right? When City play with Haaland, they play totally different to when Haaland isn't there, and I think that helps them in the way that it doesn't allow other teams to prepare as well as if, I think Arsenal, whether it's Jesus or Trossard or Nketiah, let's say, are going to play in a similar way at this point of the season, and they've got 37 games or whatever it is of data from the Premier League, all these clubs now, to say this is what Arsenal have done. When Martinelli gets on the ball, he 70% of the time comes in and does this, or so they can inform defenders about what to expect. Where I think Pep and with Haaland, without Haaland, is so different how they play. Like even from the fullbacks, it must be difficult for opposition scouts and analysts to figure out what they're going to do.
But
and
a lot of people
players
said that at the start of the season. A lot of people said that was to City's detriment, that Haaland was making them play in a different way. Maybe that's why they were struggling. I mean, I remember people saying it.
Oh yeah, but I think early in the season it was.
Yeah,
because City were getting used to it.
But now that's where I was going with my City comment tonight. Is basically they're now just, they're in machine mode to me.
Oh, yeah.
And Haaland is, and I tell you who I singled out the weekend, who for me has really been outstanding for them the last few weeks, is Jack Grealish. I think he's really started to justify their decision to pick him up and pay the money, because he's got that confidence on the ball again that he had at Villa. And you're seeing, like, when he's got the ball out wide, the defender is just doesn't know what to do. I mean, he's really making that look, he's scaring the life out of defenders, and he's either blasting a ball low in towards Haaland, or he's chipping one into Haaland. Either way, it's Haaland on the end of it, and it's going to end up in the net. So
hashtag free Alvarez.
Hashtag free Alvarez. Exactly. Yeah, everyone knows I'm a big proponent of. Do you know what? I was talking to an Argentinian last weekend in our sim racing community, and they hate City because he's not playing.
Oh yeah,
they hate City. All of them. They're like, yeah, they're not happy because Alvarez is not playing.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, they feel that he's a young Argentinian talent that needs to be shown, right?
Yeah. He just signed a new deal, I think, as well, a couple weeks ago or something.
I mean, that's it's on him then, isn't it? It's his own fault.
Yeah, with City, I think they're. I don't know if they're quite in machine mode. I don't know. I think they're still gonna. They're gonna make their wins look comfortable, but there's always those matches where they got slightly fortunate. I mean, they were in control of this match, and I don't think anyone thought they'd lose to Leicester, right? But they got a handball early on. They had a John Stones, great goal by John Stones. So I mean, that's a game-winning type of goal. But I think, there was a handball, and then Iheanacho missed a couple chances. They're conceding chances. It's not like they're untouchable, I don't think. If we go back to the Bayern game, Bayern without a striker, without Lewandowski, they just look so dull, right? Everything is good. Their build-up is good. They were keeping the ball well. They have Goretzka and Kimmich in the middle. They have pressing wingers. But then that middle area, right? Mane hasn't performed, and apparently Mane is going to be offloaded. We can talk about Mane as well. But without Lewandowski, they just had no killer, killing touch, and they had their chances against City. I thought it would have been a great tie if Lewandowski or just some sort of striker was in that team. I just think. I
was going to say, don't you think it just looks like Chelsea's Tuchel's Chelsea? Sorry, when they didn't have a striker. It was all nice. Yeah, they were playing Havertz up front, right? And they were getting chances but not putting them away. And it looks the same at Bayern in that way. In that game, I can't say I've watched lots of Bayern, but
I don't know, but I don't know. I'm not 100% thinking I still think City's going to win the Champions League. I do think they're going to win the Champions League. I don't know if the league is done. I just don't think it's done. And I hope it's not that. But yeah. Speaking of Mane apparently punched Leroy Sané in the dressing room after he was called a black shit or something by Sané, and then he's been fined 300K, and he was dropped for this weekend.
Yeah.
But Mane sounds like he's going to be leaving Bayern soon. In that match, Man City had 44% possession against Bayern, right? So Bayern had the ball. They were playing well. They just didn't have the finishing touch. That's the lowest possession percentage they've had under Pep at the Etihad. So it's kind of an interesting, very un-Pep-like performance. And I think that's what will eventually take them to the Champions League, is that they have Haaland. They have to play more direct, not like Pep, because, I'm a critic of Pep, but this is what my criticism is he's just he needs players like Messi to carry him to these big trophies, and his Messi is Haaland this year, I think. But I don't know.
Who was his Messi before then? Aguero?
He didn't have one. He never won he kept choking the Champions League with the best squad.
You mean specifically for the Champions League? Yeah.
Oh yeah, Champions League.
Yeah.
His football is perfect for league football. His team's never probably low injury rate, and they're not going to drop points in the Premier League. And that's another thing about the Premier League. I was just to quickly jump to today. I watched the Liverpool. I just saw a couple clips of the game, and I think the style of play in the Premier League lends itself to the toughest job for referees. The culture of English football and the style of play makes it the toughest league to be a ref in. I think it's not just the refs are bad. I think it's the toughest play style and the culture of a little the physicality that lends itself to being a very tough league to referee. I don't know, that was just kind of
I swear I read, not this season, I swear it was last season, a stat was released to say that in the Premier League, referees have to do more high-intensity sprints than any other refs in the top 5 leagues or something because of the speed of the game going backwards and forwards. And you think about that, and I was like, that. Therefore, you're making decisions probably further away because the ball moves quicker. But that's why we've got VAR, right? So,
I was going to say,
and also the refs are fatigued.
To help.
And the refs are fatigued at that point too. You make a. I can tell you, I play pickup on Tuesdays, and after a couple sprints, I'm just all my passes are weighted wrong. I'm kicking the ball. It's kind of like flinging my leg at the ball. It's just it's so disheartening when that happens. Let's see what chat's saying. Pep has managed injuries as well this season. Yeah, so that's the thing. I think, like you said, I think I agree that this is the time to come into form, right? You kind of do whatever throughout the season. You experiment this, that, and then now is the time you want to put it together. And they're on a 10-game winning streak across all competitions, I believe. They're on a 6 or 7-game win streak in the Premier League. This is off the back of their first 5-game win streak in the Premier League, right? So they're hitting form at the right time. I
mean, both teams are on for really high points total again. So as well. So it's the pace is absolutely fine. Like the margin for error in the league. We've seen it before, right? Where teams have lost one game. I think did Liverpool lose one game that season?
I think last season they drew each other. Those were the only points that were dropped by either team. I was talking.
So the margin for error. I saw I forget who it was. It was a former Arsenal player. I can't remember. It was middle of the week, and I was reading an article, and it was written by him, and he was saying that the margin for error used to be a lot wider. So you could have more draws. You could lose a few games and still challenge for the title. That the oil era, as I'm going to call it, has changed. Has changed it. It has. That's what's changed it. Nothing else. Those teams, Chelsea, that team changed it, and then this City era as well. There's no. You only have to look at the table over the last 20 years to see it.
Yeah, you can see the amount of points that wins the league is just incredible. It's gone up so much over time. Where, like you're saying, previously, more teams would beat more teams. You'd have that bit of leeway to think, oh, well, United could drop points at Norwich because then they'll go and beat someone else, and Newcastle would also lose, and Arsenal would lose to someone. Whereas now it's just sort of like so consistent in terms of results. I think the Liverpool one, wouldn't it? They would have won the league of the last 5 before that. The first year they're in that race with City to win the league. If Liverpool had got the same points total, they would have won the league the last 5 years or something. Yeah. It was absolutely bonkers. Yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
So.
And it's the kind of league where Brentford can go and beat City next week. Not that they're not playing, but you know what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Like it's that kind of league where a team mid-table or even in the bottom half can go and get a result on their day against another team, and for whatever reason. So it's still there, but it's definitely not as much. And teams like I've said, the major thing for me about City is if they go 2-0 up, it's a done deal, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's a done deal. I don't think we have the squad experience and depth to be able to be in that conversation. We just don't. We've spent. Don't get me wrong. We've spent some money. We have. We can't say that anymore about Arsenal. We have spent money, not to the level of that, right? So I think I read a stat like Pep's first year and a half. Pep's first year they spent 500 mil or something at City, and for Arteta, has been there almost 3.5 to 4 years, and we're not at 500 mil.
So the other thing is that Man City knew Pep was coming before he actually became manager, and signed players for him before he was even there. Yeah,
that's true.
Cheeky. All right, well, moving on to the other Manchester team. United played Forest away at the City ground. 2-0 win for United. Goal from Anthony and Diogo Dalot. Dalot playing in a left back position because Malazia's injured. I just wrote down the injury list we have. We got Sabitzer picked up an injury in the warm-ups, who's meant to start. Rashford, Varane, Martinez, Van de Beek, Garnacho, Luke Shaw, now Malazia, and Scott McTominay all out. Maguire and Lindelof started. I thought they played pretty well. Maguire with an early yellow card kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah,
and he gets away with quite a bit. Let's be honest. Maguire. Maybe he gets that Harry Kane treatment to some extent, that English, I don't know.
If he hadn't have got a yellow card in the 3rd minute, he definitely would have got a yellow card for one of the other tackles that he did during the game.
Yes, I think so. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good game. Cultured, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think it was, I think it was a good time to play Nottingham Forest. They've not been in very good form. They're struggling. The owner has come out and told the manager that results need to improve, which is just going to pile on the pressure, which I don't think helps in that sort of situation. And yeah, we played well. There was a few scares, wasn't there? De Gea, I think, made a good save in the first half. Iwoni should have scored after Delot's poor touch at the back. But generally, we're in control of the game. I think with the injury list we've got, any sort of win would have been good. But it was fairly comfortable, I want to say. I think Martial makes us play so much better when he's up front. His hold-up play and the ability to spin in behind with pace is much better than Weghorst. But then Weghorst came on at 2-0 up, and it's a physical presence that wins headers and wins flick-ons, and that's what Weghorst should be used for. He shouldn't be used as our starting striker, but it's just, can Martial do it for a whole season? Can he stay fit? Can he do that? And I think Ten Hag will probably say no, and we'll go and buy a new try and buy a new striker in the summer. But the game overall was good, wasn't it? Diego happy for Delot getting his goal, first Premier League goal.
First Premier League goal. I thought Anthony played really well.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, with Martial, we play so much better. Is Sancho, Martial, and Anthony? They're so technical. They're very, very technically sound. I bet Ten Hag loves that aspect of them. It just shows what from front to back, when we have decent players, we could play some nice ball, and it's been nice with even despite Weghorst or Rashford filling in at the 9. Rashford's not as technical as Martial though, so
Yeah.
it's interesting to see how Martial drops in deep and plays that false nine really well.
I also think there's a big
yeah.
difference when you have Sancho, Anthony, and Martial. I think you could put those three up front, but if your midfield is Fred, McTominay, and Sabitzer, or Bruno,
Right.
McTominay, Sabitzer, I don't think you're going to get the ball to him as much. Whereas as soon as Eriksen's in there, you get that deeper ball player, which frees Bruno up to go forward, and then you just have Casemiro sitting behind Eriksen and just saying, mop everything up and then give the ball to Christian Eriksen. And he's so good on the ball, Eriksen.
Yeah, he's great. It's night and day, especially with Casemiro. Just some of the things he does, the way he defends, and then the way he moves the ball. Yeah, it's just with McTominay. Yeah, he can defend, not as good as Casemiro, but then on the ball, it's just miles difference between him and Casemiro, and that's like. It's like the Arsenal game. Partey. If Partey has an off day, imagine Partey had an off day every single game. That's us with McTominay. Like
didn't McTominay score for you like last week?
Well, when he's been playing at the 8, so
right.
as the 8,
yeah.
it's a little better, but when you.
He's your Granit Xhaka, is what you're telling me.
I think Xhaka is an upgrade on McTominay. Yeah.
Okay, but it sounds like you're blaming him like other people blame Xhaka.
Oh no, I'm just saying when we don't have Casemiro in the team, he's the one who has to kind of try to play that role.
I think when we don't have Casemiro in the team, McTominay drops back purely because of his height and his physicality. I don't think it's anything to say that he can play that role. I think it's because he is a physical human being and he can get around the pitch and he can push people off it. I think, it was Mourinho, wasn't it? Under Mourinho, McTominay sort of became this box-to-box midfielder, where in the youth team he had been playing as a striker, apparently. Striker and attacking midfielder. Mourinho brought him in. Then we didn't have a holding midfielder, so it became a McFred in the pivot in front of the back four. And now that we've signed Casemiro, I think McTominay can push a little bit further forward when he plays, and that is you're seeing the better side of Scott McTominay.
Yeah,
but I still don't think sell him.
I
get
think
money off Newcastle.
I think you'll get money for him as well. I think somebody else in the Prem would pick him
Newcastle.
up.
Newcastle will take him.
I feel like they're gonna bring people in from abroad with that money, but I could definitely see him going to another like Villa or someone,
The problem Newcastle have, right, is that they're more than likely going to get at least Europa League this season, which means they've got to have homegrown trained players from England, and McTominay ticks all those boxes, right? So it'll be interesting.
Question for you guys. I think it was at 1-0. Maguire, for me, that was a penalty to Forest.
Oh, 100%. 100% a penalty. Yeah.
Yeah.
When he handballs it or when he pulls him down?
Handball.
Okay.
The handball.
Yeah, I can't remember it exactly. I remember thinking at the time that it could have been a penalty.
The corner came in.
He's
it was
like,
a corner or a deep free kick.
This.
It's weird, isn't it? Because he jumped backwards to try and head the ball, and then he grabs Martial's shirt, which is what annoyed me even more. He grabbed Anthony Martial's shirt, stopped Martial from jumping, and the ball just sort of like smashes him here. Yeah. The only reason I don't think it was I could see why it wasn't given as a penalty, is because it didn't stop a Forest player heading the ball. The Forest player was nowhere near heading the ball either.
Yeah.
But I thought it should have been a penalty. I thought that should have been a penalty.
For consistency's sake, the way pens have been given this season, it should be a penalty. Interesting that you can't remember that incident.
I remember the incident. I just can't. I remember thinking that was it a penalty? It could be handball, that type of thing.
You're one step away from Arsene Wenger right now, where you didn't see it.
Yeah, I did not see.
I gotta check it. I gotta check it because there's a couple of fouls that Harry Maguire did that he I said, he gets away with some fouls. Like he'll just barrel over somebody and he'll be like he'll just turn his head and like what
that game, the Forest game, made me realise, and I think I tweeted about it, where I was like, if we sell Lindelof and keep Maguire, that's criminal, because Lindelof in that game was so much better than Harry Maguire, and Lindelof could sit next to Varane, he could sit next to Martinez, he can fill in at right back. Maguire, I think United just need to go, right, it didn't work. see ya. Like loan or something. It just didn't work. Go and get even a loan. Go and get some confidence up or something.
Take the hit.
It's one of
on
those
the money,
transfers,
yeah.
right? A bit like Pepe. I think Arsenal will all go and be like, yeah, that didn't work. He's gone. Great. Whatever. I think that's what it needs to do with Maguire.
It's interesting because Pepe's having another great season in the French league.
France. Yeah.
I don't know if we have a section for this. I'm just going to mention it. Florian Balogun rumored to be not interested or doesn't want to come back to fight for his place in the first team. He just wants to be the guy, and like that to me sums up the attitude of why he didn't make it in the first place in the Prem. You know what I mean? Like yes, he scored a lot of goals in France this year, but do you know who else has scored just as many as him now? Lacazette.
But I mean, does he have a spot? He doesn't really have a spot. It's Jesus and Martinelli and Trossard now, right? And
I mean, Eddie, yeah, but like I think if Balogun takes himself that serious, that thinks he's that good, then he would be able to come in and compete with Jesus. That should be his target, right? But to me, it's like he's admitting that's defeat. You know, just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And
maybe.
I'm interested to see if he does go to another Prem team or if he stays. If I was him, I'd stay in France because I think it might make his goal tally look a lot better come the end.
Yeah, I think if he doesn't come back to Arsenal, he stays abroad somewhere. Italy, France, Germany.
He might do all right in
like
Serie A, but I don't think he's as prolific as people think he might be.
Yeah.
I think the French league is a little flattering.
Yeah.
Sorry, French league fans.
I mean, you know, it's competitive in its own way. You know, I think just we could talk about this. I mean, we talk about this. I talk about this a lot in Discord, but it's, you know, like the English language is so big. Like this whole right now, there's a huge kind of this back and forth with Barcelona and Madrid going on right now, but it's all in Spanish. You know, it's like, did you guys hear about it? Like Barca, this Negreira case, the refereeing thing, and Barcelona made a statement, and then Real Madrid today, like, put out a video montage of all the things historically, because they're talking about Real Madrid is a regime and they have to be combated. And now Madrid has made their own, you know, video. They said things like they made a response video saying Barcelona gave Franco medals. Look, I don't even know who all these people are, to be honest. Franco saved Barca from bankruptcy 3 times. Barca won 8 La Ligas and 9. You know, there's just like they're doing this whole historical battle, like back and forth.
They're just as bad as each other.
But my point is that, you know, just like that, if something like this happened in the French league, I would know even less about it, right? Because I don't speak French and it's not covered in French, and like this whole thing is covered in Spanish, and like if I just knew Spanish really well, I could be engulfed in this. You know, you never know, right? So I think there is a bit of English-speaking bias that goes on with the Premier League, which is, well, I mean, I can't deny, right? Because I only speak. It's my main language. It's my, you know, that's what I'm fluent in. So it's, you know, there's a little bit of that. I should say, you know, the fact that we are speaking in English, you know, I feel like that's just implicit bias towards the English game, maybe. I don't know if that's the, well, obviously you guys are in England,
unconscious bias.
Unconscious bias, yeah. So it's like
I never, obviously growing up, right, the internet wasn't a thing. Newspaper, like articles weren't available at your fingertips, right? So I'm just so used to my football being from watching the game, looking at the team sheet, and maybe read whatever reports came along in the newspaper about whatever game it might have been.
Catching up whatever highlights are on TV.
And for Serie A and La Liga, at times it used to be monthly updates in a magazine.
Yeah,
that we would get. So I'd buy Shoot or Match.
Shoot and Match, yeah.
And I'd buy those from the newspaper shop, and I'd read that once a month, and it used to come with stickers and whatnot. It was great. It was really good, and they'd have articles and whatnot.
My yearly football intake was the intro video montage to FIFA's. that was where I got my European football highlights. You know, I would watch the intro like over and over again.
Well, I
was
hope
just
you
like,
really enjoyed 97 as Dennis Bergkamp graced.
There was a Buttercamp goal. I think there was a DeCanio goal they put in there too.
Yeah, the scissor kick.
Yeah.
That was the, I can't. Yeah, I mean it's. Yeah, looking back, that's all we had. I mean, I think you would hear. I heard that in some newspapers they would have a small section on what's happening in European football in like the LA Times or something, like big newspapers, not even small like local newspapers. But yeah, pretty. It's just every time I talk about the Spain and how and they're talking about it in chat. We could maybe get back to it a little later, but like if we knew the ins and outs of Almeria or something, like we know what's happening at West Ham, for example, like if we knew David Moyes, we knew Mikel Antonio, like the Spanish version of them, maybe it would have more like, when they played Barcelona, it would be more of a, an event, right? But it's just not
like
to the English-speaking world.
Cart really wants to find out the equivalent of Sean Dyche in the Spanish league, and then that'll be his manager. Like, that's the one.
Well, the equivalent of Tony Pulis is the Sevilla manager, apparently. Mendilibar, who we played last Thursday and drew 2-2 in just amazing fashion. That was a crazy 2-2 off the slab, the equalizing goal. We play this Thursday. Yeah, this week we got European football again, by the way. So tomorrow
Chelsea,
Madrid, Napoli, Milan, and then
my picks are all looking good, although Napoli are one down. I am expecting Napoli to turn that deficit over at home.
Yeah,
they rested some players as well.
Yeah, let's just speaking of Chelsea, let's just hop into Chelsea. Chelsea played Brighton. Brighton played some amazing stuff. I don't know if you saw the game-winning goal from that game from Enkizo. This is the first time I'm hearing about this guy. I think they signed him in January. I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah,
apparently last season or this season he was playing alongside famous Paraguayan Roque Santa Cruz, who was I think 41 at the time, and the Benfica striker Cardozo. This was brought to my attention by chat yesterday. It was
Oscar Cardozo. Yeah.
I think it was Sins.
Can we all take a moment just to have a little chuckle at Chelsea?
Yeah.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Well, yeah. So last week they played against Madrid. Madrid played them off the park. Chilwell picked up a red card. I thought they did well to keep it at 2-0. They just have no striker, like we mentioned earlier. And then I think they went up against Brighton. They took the lead, and then Brighton came back and won, I think, right?
Yeah.
So pretty funny stuff. Apparently Todd Bowley went into the dressing room and gave a speech or something.
Of all the people, like, it's just that made me laugh the most. I was just looking it up because I wanted to read it out, but I'm glad that you picked up on that because, like, imagine you're a Chelsea player, right, and he comes in, you'd just be like, "What the fuck do you know about it?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
true.
You're much better off having get Drogba in to do that speech.
So weirdly,
it would have way more of an impact. Go on.
That's what Roman Abramovich used to do. Is that the reason Avram Grant got appointed was because he was a football guy, and Roman would give a message to Avram Grant, and Avram Grant would go into the dressing room and give Roman's message, basically. And it would be coming from someone that's actually been involved in football. So,
yeah, but you also knew then, if you didn't play well for Abramovich, you might get a visit from the KGB.
Yeah, true.
So,
true.
But
so Chelsea, yeah. What is it? Three games under Lampard, 3 losses. They've had the most shots against them in something like the last 10 games or something in this period of 3 games. He's a dreadful manager. In terms of the Premier League, he's a dreadful manager. Yeah, don't get it.
I mean, but then you got to say on the same, then you got to say Graham Potter's a dreadful manager, right?
I think Potter,
he's in the same situation, right? He's in the same locker room, the same everything.
Graham Potter has at Brighton and at Chelsea. Sorry, hang on a second.
Yeah, he's proved.
Graham Potter at Brighton and Chelsea did the same thing. He underperformed his XG. Sorry, Milo, I'm going to go into XG for a bit.
That's fine, mate. It's fine, mate.
Oh, hang on a second. Sorry.
All good.
I look at XG a lot more now after playing Football Manager again this season.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. That's better. So Potter underperformed his XG at Brighton and Chelsea. but Chelsea's expected points from January the 1st until when Potter was sacked was more than Arsenal's from the same period, which is
Jesus.
really bizarre. Yeah, so it does show that Potter is something in Potter's tactics means they don't score enough goals to get the points they deserve.
Yeah.
So I do think Potter, that will now go against Graham Potter for a lot of people who are looking at him, appointing him potentially as a manager, because I do think this Chelsea stint has shown that it wasn't just the fact that Brighton had Danny Welbeck and whoever up front, Trossard before they sold him, and then Neil Maupay. It was because Potter moved to Chelsea and the same sort of patterns were still there. Like, they underperformed the expected goals they should have. But Lampard's come in and they're doing even worse because they're not getting the expected goals that even Potter's team was meant to be doing. And I just think Lampard's just shocking. Why would you sack Graham Potter if you're going to bring in Frank Lampard till the end of the season? Just let Potter do it to the end of the season, and then get rid of him.
Yeah.
When I saw Frank Lampard go shake Julian Lopetegui's hand in the first game they played, you could tell, like, I don't know. You just see the difference in class just when you just see them speak to each other. Like, Lopetegui's calm, relaxed, shaking his hand, and Lampard's like, quickly just trying to shake his hand and go to his seat type of thing. I don't know. You get. I'm probably reading into it, but just like the Rashford situation. But but like when you just get you get a sense that he's just like. I don't know what Lampard's, I don't know what his I don't know what his deal is. I can't. He doesn't instill any confidence in me in any way. Like, but who knows? They play Madrid tomorrow at home. Who knows what could happen?
They're going to get smashed. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
Embarrassingly smashed, I think, Chelsea.
Game at home. Real quick, let's keep moving along. I just want to talk quickly. Big top four match. Villa Newcastle. Villa beat Newcastle 3-0. Unai Emery does it again. Most goals in the Premier League in 2023 is Ollie Watkins with 11. Most goals and assists in the Premier League is Ollie Watkins. Most clean sheets in the Premier League this season, Ollie Watkins, Aston Villa, and most points won in the Premier League this season or this calendar year is Aston Villa with 32. So Unai Emery is doing some crazy stuff. If they can, they're challenging, right? They're challenging for top four. If they can make top four, that would be an unbelievable achievement by them. But yeah,
I think again it shows that Steven Gerrard was a poor manager in the Premier League. I think Villa have everyone knew Villa had a good squad, right?
Yeah,
Villa had a good squad. And Steven Gerrard underperformed with it. And Unai Emery comes in, who is a good tactician, and Milo will have more experience than me, but doesn't play the best football. Like, it is a bit more pragmatic, but that suits Villa when they're up against teams like Newcastle, and they can go on these sorts of runs knowing they're defensively solid. And it would be amazing to see Villa back in. I think any sort of Europe would be, even if it's not the Champions League. If they get Europa League or Conference League, I think that's great for them, and they can build from there.
Emery is definitely a decent manager. I mean, we talked about this before as well. He had an impossible job coming in after Wenger, right? Impossible.
It's like the Spanish David Moyes, or
sure.
No.
Sure.
I think he is. Yeah. I think he could be.
He could be the Spanish David Moyes.
After Sir Alex, yeah.
But you know what I mean? You come in there, that's an impossible job. Whoever follows that is they're not gonna last. They just weren't gonna, in my opinion. Because it's just, it's such a big seat to fill at that point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I think we played some good stuff under him. The Ozil issues started under him as well. Obviously, I think he dropped Ozil. We were having some issues there. The language barrier was pretty heavy. I'm sure he's improved his English since then. I haven't listened to any of his post-match press conferences, but
he went to Europa League final with Arsenal, right? I think against Chelsea.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
it was Emery, right?
Yeah, we got spanked. Unfortunately, it wasn't a good day out for us. But again, the team was really in flux at that point, and you're coming, like you say, you're coming into that first season after Wenger. So Yeah. But he is a good manager, and I think he's done better with Villa than I thought he would do. But because the thing is, every year I say, I think Villa might do all right this year, and then they completely shit the bed.
Yeah. I was just looking at some his win percentages on Wikipedia, and this season is very much an outlier so far with Villa. So he's got a 60% win ratio with Villa in the league this season, which is very, very good. The only one better than that is PSG, which you would expect, and then everything else is around 50%, but all of his other clubs. So it could be that they're on a bit of a bounce, and next year's a bit more better time to judge. But I agree with Milo. I think he's a very astute tactician. He knows what he's doing. He's a good manager. Maybe this is just the right club, right man, right fit, and it'll work for them.
They're on a good run.
How it goes, I guess.
Didn't he go to PSG?
5-game win streak.
Yeah, that's where he got his biggest win percentage. Yeah, 76%.
Yeah,
at PSG.
But still, they didn't want to keep him.
No, and probably in the grand
This is
scheme of things,
Champions
70% with PSG might not be that good.
Yeah, it might not be in the French league.
But
Yeah, so Villa now are 6 points off fourth place. Off fourth place Newcastle, they have a game in hand, and they're 3 points behind Tottenham. Speaking of Tottenham, they played Bournemouth this weekend. I don't know if you guys heard about this. I'm not gonna, I haven't done my investigation, but Hoff is not here today, for some reason. I'm
Sorry.
not sure.
keep it in, Milo. Keep it in.
I'm trying so hard to not laugh out loud.
It was Spurs were down 2-1 after a Solanke goal in the 51st minute, and then in the 88th minute, Arnaud Danjuma came on as a sub, scored, tied 2-2 at 88, and at that point, Spurs are thinking they're going to go pick up the 3 points, and then just a couple minutes later, Bournemouth go down and score. Otada, I don't know his full name.
Yeah, it was
Otada.
deep in stoppage time. What I really enjoy about this is not Hoff's misery, because I like Hoff a lot. So, but there are so many Tottenham fans that were giving me grief, or giving Arsenal grief, for only just beating Bournemouth at home with a late winner. What was it, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And they just lose 3-2 at home to Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I just think that made me laugh quite a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
As soon as they started booing Davinson Sanchez, I wanted Tottenham to lose.
Yeah, I saw
Fans should never boo their own players, even if they're playing dreadfully. Just be angry at them, be annoyed, but don't ever boo. It's mental health issues.
I've seen us do it
it's so bad.
to Xhaka and Aboué.
Yeah.
Both players who came back from those incidents.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, who was the last player to be booed by United fans?
Harry Maguire.
Maguire.
And I didn't. It was I was at Old Trafford for a game, and I didn't boo him. Like, he was horrendous, absolutely horrendous. But I can't stand it. So,
Okay. Yeah.
like, imagine you're at work and someone is there behind you going boo, boo.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
today for the Forest game, you could hear that. I mean, it was obviously away, but every time Maguire would get the ball, they'd do the when he has the ball.
if he could complete a pass. Yeah.
And there was one time when he got, did his classic run into the final third, just kind of skipping with the outside of his foot, touching it, and then he just puts a pass out wide to Wan-Bissaka, and it just went out of bounds.
Went out for a throw.
It just went out for a throw, and it's just too good. It's entertaining at the end of the day.
I text my mates at that exact point saying, "Oh my god, he's shit."
Yeah,
It's like, that was dreadful. And he runs like he's wearing a towel. Like he has one hand down as if he's got to hold a towel up as he runs. Now that I've said it, you won't unsee it.
He's the second name on Gareth Southgate's team sheet every single England game.
He's not let England down.
There's the weak point in the England team, I guess. This morning, for us this afternoon, Liverpool, big win over Leeds away, 6-1. Gakpo, Salah, Jota, Salah again. Jota with 2, Salah with 2, and Nunez scoring in the 90th minute. I noticed it against Arsenal, and I think I asked Sacco and Mordecai about it. It's like Trent playing this false fullback role. It was the first time I remember him doing it, notably doing it in the Arsenal game, and then he did it again today, and he played really well, from what I understand. I saw a little bit of the game. But But yeah, big win for Liverpool. Another, this is their third kind of big win, right? They had the 7-0, they had the 9-0 against Bournemouth, and now a 6-1 against Leeds. Leeds aren't looking too good, but yeah, good result for Liverpool.
Yeah, very good. I mean, they've been so hot and cold, haven't they, this season? They really have. But I was looking at the table. I'm just going to bring it up again to refresh my memory. They are.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say. So they're 3 points off of Villa, and they have a game in hand on Villa as well. So they're 3 points behind Villa, 6 points behind Tottenham. I mean, they could still creep into that mix.
Yeah,
They could. Yeah.
it's going to be tight. It's going to be tough. I'm so happy United won because everyone else dropped points pretty much this weekend, other than Villa.
Other than Brighton and Villa.
Yeah. But yeah, it was big 3 points for us for that reason you're talking about, is because it's gonna be tight for those fourth, fifth, sixth spots.
I didn't think you'd struggle against. You've got who's you got next? Brighton?
All bets are off with Maguire, man. Just anything could have happened. Like you said, he could have conceded a penalty. He could have had a red card.
You've got games against Tottenham, Chelsea, Villa, Brighton.
Yeah, we've got a tough run in.
West Ham. Yeah, you do.
I think of the teams in the top four, like if you compare Newcastle and Spurs, I think we have the toughest, quote unquote toughest. But I mean, there's so many teams in relegation battles, right? And there's so many, like West Ham, for example, right? You would have thought that would have been 3 points, but they're what, 4 points off of relegation spot. So it's like they were 1 point off when they played them. It's just all these teams are so close. It's such a good league. I think they say 40 points is the safety usually.
It's normally 40 points. Yeah, that's
normally
the target.
40. So right now only 10th place Fulham are there. Chelsea are at 1139. But it's that's 10 teams that everyone's going to be playing. Yeah, I mean, anything else in the Premier League I'm trying to see?
Leeds are fucked.
Yeah, Leeds not looking good for Leeds.
They've got a manager that just thinks he can go gung-ho against any team that he plays against. Doesn't make sense.
Results in La Liga, Madrid won 2-0, and Barca drew 0-0 again without De Jong, Dembele, Pedri struggling. Rafinha, there was a funny shot at the end of the game. Rafinha was man of the match, and he was upset that he got subbed off again, and he was man of the match and sitting next to the bench, kind of like frowning with his hands, on his knees, just like, and they're panning around him with man of the match Rafinha, and he's just like pissed off. It's kind of funny, but yeah, it seems like it's going to be a pretty straightforward. Well, not straightforward, but it seems like Barcelona will comfortably win the league. They got Atletico next, so we'll see what happens with that. You never know. There could be a little twist there. And apparently, for United, last Thursday, Sevilla played their second team because they had a big 6-pointer against Valencia, who are also bottom of the table, both fighting relegation, surprisingly, Sevilla and Valencia. Sevilla won 2-0. They are now, that takes them 8 points clear of the drop zone, so that's good for them as well. But yeah, other than that, pretty straightforward weekend. I think Antoine Griezmann is playing some amazing stuff again in La Liga. One of my dark horses, I think. Speaking of Barcelona, apparently Gundogan has signed a deal for 2 seasons plus 1 optional season for next season, which is interesting. So another reason why I think this is the time for City to do it. Anyways, and other little note I made before we get into our quiz, or I don't know if you have any other stuff. If you guys have anything else to add,
a couple of notes on Serie A.
Okay, yeah. Just real quick, the Eredivisie is the 6th league of Europe now, so they've overtaken Portugal. So now they get an extra Champions League spot and Europa League spot after Feyenoord's win over Roma in the Europa League. Anyways,
nice. And next season, Cultured will be our Dutch League correspondent.
Definitely not.
There we go. Dutch League has some players. I watched the Feyenoord game. We're linked to this Kochku guy, Orkan Kochku. I don't know how to say his name. He is a, when you talk about the conveyor belt, he's an Ericsson conveyor belt. He's 22, left foot, right foot, plays just like Christian Eriksen, and he's the captain of Feyenoord, and he was pivotal in playing and beating Roma. They played. It was a good game, really good game. But yeah, he's kind of that deep lying playmaker, that Frankie De Jong, Pirlo, Scholes role, Jorginho, Enzo type of guy. But yeah, really good. Turkish player as well. He'd be our first Turkish player if it happened. Malaysia, on Instagram, wrote in Dutch almost with eyes next to his picture, like that type of thing. So you never know. The Dutch connection. Yeah, you want to talk a little Serie A? Anything going on?
Yeah, Serie A. I've only got the headlines again, which is what we've been doing.
Okay.
But Roma continuing their impressive run of form. Another a 3-0 win at home. 3 points above Milan, 5 back from Lazio, who are in second, which is obviously their rivals. So I think they'd quite like to challenge them. AC Milan held to a 1-1 draw with Bologna. Some players being rested there for the Champions League second leg against Napoli. Napoli as well, lots of players rested. I also think they've kind of taken their foot off the gas as far as the league goes because it's basically a done deal. So they got a draw at home to Verona. Lazio a 3-0 win away at Spezia, so they're clear in second. And Inter lost 1-0 to Monza, which was a bad result for them. They're fifth and they're 2 points behind their rivals, AC.
All right. Yeah, I mean, this Napoli AC Milan Champions League game is going to be exciting. I'm going to have to keep an eye on.
Big Italian games sometimes aren't as exciting as you want them to be. This is the problem. But they are still good games, and it's usually an enthralling battle. I mean, the first leg, I watched the first leg last week. 1-0. Also, Napoli got a red card in that game.
I wonder if Osimhen will be back tomorrow. They look a little different without Osimhen now. So.
Yeah. That Kvaratskhelia-Osimhen partnership's been so good this season. They'll need it. But they are at home. They've been very good at home.
Yeah.
So I still think they'll beat Milan. I think they might win 2-0 at home.
Let's just review some comments from chat here. A little bit there. We were talking about Emery's at PSG. Emery was the manager for the 6-1.
Yeah.
The big comeback. I forgot about that. That was huge. Then we have differing opinions on the best league. Maroon's saying, it's obvious why every player baller dreams of playing the EPL. It's been like that for decades. Easily the best, most competitive, not even comparison. And then Guyan also saying players dream of playing for Barca, Madrid, and Man United. I guess it's cultural, right? Where you grow up. Like for example, Cristiano Ronaldo, right? He always talked about dreaming of playing for Madrid. And at the time when he was at United, it felt like we kept him for like an extra season. I remember, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Kind of against his will almost, and out of respect for the club. But you get the sense, like I don't know if you guys have any did you dream of playing for a club when you were little?
Man United.
I'm guessing Man United for you as well, Milo.
Arsenal. I used to Arsenal in England.
You're right.
Lots of England stuff as well. Yeah.
Right.
The back garden was always either the FA Cup final or the World Cup final.
Mm-hmm.
And Man United in the FA Cup final, or England in the World Cup final when you're playing with my older brother and stuff like that. But no, I've never. I think you're right. I think players just have a certain pull to certain teams at some point. Like there will be players out there that are like, if Barcelona come in for me, I'm going to go because I want to play for Barcelona, not because it is necessarily Barcelona or La Liga or things like that. I think there will be players out there that who was it that Arsenal had one like that were like, as soon as I heard Arsenal were in for me, then it was Arsenal. And this was years ago, before like when you were sort of in your 8th place finishes. And it might have been Odegaard. when there was a big thing around Odegaard coming, and he was like, "Oh, I really want to go to Arsenal because of what Wenger's style used to be."
Yeah, there's been players in that era. There was players in eras gone by as well. It's like, the players that stay with one club are now very rare as well, aren't they? It's that same sort of thing. I really respect players that do that. I got to be honest with you, because I like it when a player has ties. When you can see a player has ties to a club, it just makes it that little bit more special. I think when something goes well for them.
It's just the Harry Kane sort of situation. Where I would really like Harry Kane to be a one club man. I know he's gone out on loan, but Harry Kane to be at Spurs for his whole career and get the Premier League record at Spurs and do that, because he is a phenomenal striker, an absolutely phenomenal goal scorer. But then I also think it's quite bad that if that sort of goal scorer doesn't win a trophy. And it's sort of like, I'm not saying if he comes to United he'll win it. He could go to City and they might not win it. He could go anywhere and he might not win it. But to stay at your whole career when you're that good at a club which is renowned for bottling trophies, it's like, it's pretty tough. So
I don't know what's gonna happen.
Imagine Henry playing in the Premier League for a club that never won a trophy in England. Henry,
I don't know.
It would be bonkers, right?
Yeah, I think a little different, because I know exactly what you mean. But because Henry, when he came, I think a lot of people, especially rival fans, were like, "Okay, who's that?"
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah,
But Wenger knew from his youth days at Monaco what he had in ability-wise, and managed to coax it out of him.
Yeah. It's just the equivalent of imagine if he had been Imagine if you had someone that good at Arsenal and you never won anything in that period.
Exactly.
You'd be like, I can't believe he didn't. It's not that I can't believe we didn't win. It's I can't believe he didn't win. Something in that time, and I'm like, that's what I feel about Harry Kane. So, but yeah,
I'm not convinced by Harry Kane anymore. I think he's dropping off. I hope. Look, you can't count on Martial to be fit, but I think we can do.
I think if a team wants to play fast, attacking football up front, I don't think Kane's your man.
I think he'd work really well. This is interesting. We've all got different opinions. I think if you're going in with it with the mindset of this is a 2-year purchase, similar to what we did with Van Persie, like we're going to get him in and hope it, and that is our missing piece of the puzzle. He holds up the ball, he drops off, he gets other people in play, he shoots well, he scores goals. Like, it's a lot of money for 2 years, right?
It's more of a question of at cost of what, right? Is it going to be at the cost of strengthening another position? And with the FFP rules, I don't know if we have that type of money to just. We have Martial, we have Rashford. I don't know if we have that type of money, to sign a starter, right?
I think United have and always have had. If they need the money for a certain player, I think they have the ability to get that player.
I think we have the money, but like with FFP, it's not so straightforward now.
I guess. Although there are certain teams that make it look so simple.
With the 5-year, 10-year contracts, or whatever.
Well, that
and then it's Man City.
Man City they're set up for this summer to spend a lot, though. Their net spend's real low right now.
But they're also under a massive investigation, aren't they? For
investigation, and their wages is incredibly high as well. So United's wage is also pretty high too.
Yeah,
but at the cost of getting a McTominay replacement, I wouldn't want to sign Kane, right? At the cost of getting a right back. To really, a Ten Hag right back, at the cost of, getting a Weghorst replacement. Like Kane would be a Weghorst replacement. I reckon if Martial can stay fit.
I reckon you should bring Welbeck home.
You're trying to flog Welbeck off. He's not even your player at the moment.
Yeah, in real life and in my Brighton side.
Yeah, bloody hell. No, I know what you mean, Carl. I think I would rather the money be spent on a long term, if on more of a long term project of signings like that up and coming right back and up and coming central midfielder that's going to sit a system that will, like the conveyor belt you're talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But if Eric Ten Hag says to the Glaziers or whoever owns the club and says Harry Kane's going to make us the complete picture and we'll have a chance of winning the league, I'll be like, yeah, I trust him. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let him
no,
cook.
I mean, look, I could see it happening. I just hope it's not at the cost of replacing Fred McTominay and possibly Maguire and really stamping down a right back, because we're linked with Jeremy Frimpong from Leverkusen. He's a Dutch right back, really good player, and this Kochku guy. Hopefully that goes through. Ericsson replacement, and then I don't know if we need a Casemiro replacement too. So like Caicedo or somebody. He was going for what 100 million. Arsenal were big in for him as well.
I think we still are, to be honest.
Yeah, that would it'll be interesting to see where he goes. And apparently McAllister, United's in for McAllister as well. Arsenal and Liverpool. I think Arsenal, Liverpool, United apparently. Did you guys see that goal in the I think it was the Norwegian league this week? It was just like from Bodo Glimt. Here, let me see if I can. Amal Pellegrino. Can I share this? Let me see.
You should be able to share your screen, right?
What are you doing watching Norwegian football?
This was just like the biggest goal of the day. Here, let me see if I can share my entire screen here.
Cart was having a slow day, and he just thought, "I'll pop on the Norwegian Premier
No,
League."
this was this is the top here. Let me see if I can. Here we go. There you go. It's a little popcorn quality. I hate Reddit video. Maybe that'll help. There we go. All right, takes it down the wing, chips it up, header, control.
Lovely.
Oh yeah,
Lovely.
Just, it's like Henry-esque or something, huh?
Yeah.
He does the finger and everything. Is he doing an Henry celebration? Kind of.
Henry did do that, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
I feel like I should take this out. It's going to cause problems in the YouTube. But anyways, that was a pretty good goal. Anyways, do we have time for a quiz?
Yeah, let's do it. It's a rapid fire.
Yeah.
I've got it all ready to go.
Yeah.
So this is the only quiz we're doing tonight, right?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
That's all we got.
So we're just doing a quick fire. It's basically cultured versus cart.
All right, there we go.
So it's the questions are based on the 2012-13 Premier League season.
Oh my God. Okay.
Right, so 12-13. Cast your minds back. But it's well within your window.
Yeah.
For the chat, if you're new to the rapid fire, basically each contestant, so there's only two of them, obviously, will have to yell a name out in order to have the opportunity to answer the question. Because are they easy questions? They're easy-ish. Actually, I usually do easier questions for this, but whatever, this is fine. This is fine. So, your activation name, Cartwheel, is Glenn Hoddle.
All right.
Okay. And
great cadence, great voice.
Yours is Chris Waddle.
Oh God.
Okay.
Glenn or Hoddle? I think Glenn.
You got to say Hoddle.
Hoddle
and
Waddle.
So I really need you to enunciate the W, Cultured.
Right, Waddle.
Yeah.
Hoddle. All right, there we go.
Okay. Who was named... Yeah, let's start. Who was named new manager at Liverpool, leaving Swansea City to join in 2012?
Hoddle.
That was Cultured I got.
Yeah, definitely. Brendan Rodgers.
Correct.
I thought that was me.
And we sometimes get lag here, guys. You might see...
I know. Whatever. Whatever. I can't see chat. Maybe the chat will tell us.
Gotcha. Newcastle United played Arsenal at the Emirates. Newcastle scored 3 goals. How many did Arsenal score?
Waddle.
Cultured?
3.
No.
Huddle.
Go on.
5?
I'll give the point to Cart because it was 7. So he was closer.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. They go 7. Jeez.
I thought that was the famous 3-3 draw where you were 3-0 up.
No, we lost that game 4-3. The one you're thinking of.
I was wrong on that one as well. So.
Yeah. Oh, no, wait. That might have been a 4-4.
I thought, oh yeah, was it Cheek Teote scored
Yeah,
in like
Chuck,
the last
Chuck
minute? with it?
Tiote, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jake Tiote.
Yeah.
He passed, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, he did.
He
Yeah,
did.
heart attack. Yeah.
Yeah. Which Liverpool forward finished runner-up in the goal-scoring charts with 23 goals?
Waddle.
Huddle.
Cultured?
Torres.
No.
Oh,
Huddle.
Go for it.
Suarez?
Correct.
oh,
Which Welshman finished third with 21 goals?
Huddle.
Go on.
Bale.
Yes,
yeah.
correct.
It's the only Welshman I could think of. I was like,
I thought it might have been Giggs for a second, but that was towards the end, right? That's-
Yeah, I never even thought about gigs. That's true. Yeah. Alongside Juan Mata, which other Chelsea midfielder was named in the PFA Team of the Year?
Huddle?
Go on.
Lampard?
No.
Waddle.
Go on.
Michael Essien.
No.
Oh, Huddle.
Eden Hazard.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, it's only one
wouldn't
one
guess
guess
that.
each. Only one guess.
Okay.
Name the Everton left back who was also PFA Team of the Year.
Waddle.
Go on. Culture.
Leighton Baines.
Correct.
Nice.
I was so close to saying Seamus Coleman.
Name the English Arsenal player who scored the quickest goal of the season. 20 seconds.
Huddle.
Go on.
Walcott?
Yes, Theo
Oh,
Walcott.
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I think we looked that up the other. Someone
did
scored a
you?
quick goal recently
Okay.
for Arsenal.
Yeah,
I think
they did,
No,
yeah.
against Arsenal.
Against Arsenal.
Arsenal.
it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Tony or somebody, or I can't remember who it was.
Oh, this is a good one for you too. What was the score in Sir Alex Ferguson's last game in charge of
Waddle.
Man United?
Well, oh,
Go on.
Oh crap! It was West Brom.
Huddle. If in case
4-4.
5-5.
5-5 is the answer.
Because Lukaku scored a hat trick, didn't he?
Yeah, he
Scored a
did.
hat-trick for
Jesus.
West Brom. Yeah.
All right, we'll
So
do a couple more
anticlimactic.
questions to give Culture the chance to come back. It's currently 5-2 to
okay.
Cartwheel.
Oh,
my
wow.
God. Wow.
Despite winning the FA Cup, which side were relegated from the Premier League?
Waddle.
Go on, Culture.
Wigan.
Wigan is correct.
Because I was on holiday and I watched the final and I couldn't believe it.
There
Who
you
did
go.
they beat? Chelsea, I think. Yeah,
Man City.
Chelsea. Oh, Man City.
They beat Man City in the final. Yeah.
Who took over from Roberto Di Matteo as Chelsea manager despite him being an unpopular choice by the fans?
Waddle.
Go on.
That guy that used to be the it's Andres Villas-Boas.
No.
Oh,
Between two here, Huddle, Di Matteo, Avram Grant,
No. Who was your other guess?
Hiddink.
No, it
Hiddink?
was Benitez.
Oh,
yeah.
I always forget that Benitez
Av-
went to Chelsea as well.
Avram Grant was there twice, though, right? Wasn't he?
yeah, he was. So
It rings a bell.
Avram
He was-
Grant was the manager when we beat them in Munich in the final.
Yeah, just covered
then
in
I think-
rain.
It was
Yeah.
it was Rafael Benitez. Yeah.
Rafa Benitez, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, two more questions. Which former West Ham United star player took over from Martin O'Neill as Sunderland manager?
Oh.
Which West Ham star player took over
From
at
Martin O'Neill.
Sunderland?
At
Sunderland.
Yeah. Crickets.
Yeah,
No, no.
Not Gus Poyet, Proud.
Oh,
No,
Waddle.
Go on.
Paolo Di Canio.
Paolo Di Canio is correct.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
All right, last question. This is a chance for
Nice
you to
one.
tie it. Okay. It's 5-4 right now. It's real close.
Okay.
Mark Hughes was sacked as QPR manager during the season. Who took over as
Waddle.
manager? Go on, Cultured.
Harry Redknapp.
Correct.
Oh, nice.
And just like Sir Alex Ferguson's last game in charge, it finishes 5-5.
5-5.
Good quiz.
Nice.
Good.
Nice
job,
comeback.
Cart. Nice job.
Nice. Oh man, Mark Hughes. What's Mark Hughes up to? Is I feel like he's Is he managing?
I'm
gonna have to
It'll be in
Google.
like League One. Is he Bradford manager or something?
Yes, he is. Bradford City manager.
Yeah.
Player manager.
Nice.
No, he's not really.
Nice.
It'd be amazing if he was player manager
Yeah.
at Bradford City.
Alrighty.
quiz.
And anything else? Yeah, that was great. Anything else you guys want to add? I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, big Champions League, Europa League coming up this week. Who does Arsenal play next weekend?
Who do we play next weekend?
That's a good question.
I
Let me
was
see.
looking
don't
at it
even know.
yesterday, and then I was like, no more football for this guy.
You got Southampton
We have
early
Southampton
match.
Friday.
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 Oh, interesting.
Yeah, we play
Interesting.
Southampton Friday, and then the following Wednesday we have City. I
Oh,
hate
we have
the
FA
fact that-
Cup this weekend.
I hate the fact the City game's on a Wednesday as well. Hate it.
FA Cup this weekend for us. We got Brighton. It's gonna be a tough match.
Yeah.
And Sevilla, obviously. Alrighty. Chat. Anything of Declan Rice to Arsenal maybe?
That's a rumor, isn't it? Definitely a rumor.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I think we can wrap it up there. Milo, you want to... Oh, Newcastle Tottenham next weekend, by the way. That'll be good. Important for us for top
Yeah.
four.
Top four implications.
Milo, you want to take us away?
Sure.
Yeah.
I know Culture loves this bit. What's an astronaut's favorite part of a computer? The space bar.
Oh, nice.
God.
Isn't there like a launch happening soon with Elon Musk or something?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Sometimes they're on Twitch, huh?
Yeah, it was.
I think so.
I've watched a few things on Twitch from NASA.
Here, I'm gonna
some of
throw
them
this
are
thing up to give me a